are in poverty, and that's why it's so important for us to be involved in missions, to not only help here in our country, but other countries around. I'd really like to start my speech with a short story about a young man that really thought he was poor. He was really angry about his situation. He lived in a house that the walls were all concrete, didn't have any kind of insulation. His bedroom was, the house was an old duplex, and his bedroom was probably considered like the front kitchen, living room area. Small bedroom, had a front door, a side door, and a window. Front door, the bottom of it was busted out. The windows were knocked out, didn't have glass or screen. It was taped off. During the summer, they would keep the boys' room shut to keep the mosquitoes out of the house. They had one air conditioner that was in his parents' room, and during the evenings before they all went to bed, the parents would keep the door open so that he would cool the house off. And the same kid, his parents didn't have a whole lot of money, and they did the best that they could to provide for their kids. There were many nights that the young man would choose to not eat dinner or to forego dinner so that his dad would be able to eat dinner. I'd like to say that this kid did it because he cared more about his dad than his own well-being, but he cared more about his mother, because the fact is that if his dad didn't eat, his dad tended to get a little violent and angry and take it out on his mother. This kid was super mad. Had a lot of resentment towards people that did have money and his situation. He felt like he was the poorest kid in the world. But was he? Which brings me to my next topic. Let's take a quick look at the poverty in the United States, the greatest country ever. A census in 2007 pointed out that there was 40 million Americans that lived in poverty. Poverty income would have been about $24,000 per year. I lived in a family of 6, but during the lowest part of our life, there was 4 kids and my parents. And I remember in the evenings, us being in the backyard underneath this big old oak tree, washing our clothes in a 5-gallon bucket as a family. Mom and Dad would wash, the kids would rinse, and we'd have 2 kids wringing clothes out like you would an old mop, and then we would lay the clothes out along the fence line to dry out because we didn't have a washer and dryer nor the money to purchase one. As bad as that may seem, let's take a look at poverty in some third world countries, and I chose to look at the Philippines because I've been on a mission trip there twice, built a church, seen what poverty really is. And I chose Jamaica because that is a country that my church, Bold City Church, does missions through. Philippines. Half of the population in the Philippines is considered to be self-rate poor. The population that is in poverty is 100.98 million. Huge difference between America's 40 and the Philippines, which is 16.1%. Now, this is a census that was done by the Philippine government in 2015. The poverty level in Jamaica is 14.5% of the population that lives under poverty. Compare poverty income with America, Jamaica, and the Philippines. America's median income is $63,179, and that was done by the Census Bureau of 2018. Philippines' median income for the year is $2,000. That's $1.23 a day. Jamaica's median household income is $8,305. Huge difference, huge difference. So you can really see the difference in poverty. What we consider poverty is really just a skewed idea of what poverty is. When I was in the Philippines, there was a young lady by the name of Faye. Her house was nothing more than 4 trees with a tarp wrapped around it, with a tarp over it, and that's where her and her 2 kids lived. Considering that U.S. makes triple the amount the average person in Jamaica, and over 10 times what they make in the Philippines, puts a huge difference, a different look on what poverty really is. There are so many out there that have it bad in the U.S., and I'm not trying to take anything from them, but third world countries have it so much worse. America has government programs, nonprofit organizations, churches, so many avenues of assistance to help them. But these third world countries, the government doesn't help them, and everyone else is barely scraping by, so there's no real help. That is why we must, as Americans, get involved in missions. If you're like I once was, cold, dead set on taking care of home base, be one of those people that help your 40 million people in America that live in poverty. But if you want to get outside of America, where, in my opinion, the real poverty is, the 100.98 million in the Philippines, with the 14% that live below poverty in Jamaica, get involved in missions. There are different organizations, a lot of churches have missions. Galatians 6:2, it says, bear one another's burdens, and so fulfilling the law of Christ. Philippians 2:4 says, let each of you look not only to your own interest, but to the interest of others. God wants us to be involved in each other's lives, to help each other, to lift each other up, to feed one another. The Bible says to look after the orphans and the widows, but they're not the only ones that we need to look after. Please get involved. Help a kid, help a widow, help in some way fight hunger, save another kid. Thank you so much.